Hello everyone and welcome back to this new video. Today we have an opening and presentation video for this new project, which is a bit different from the usual because you see me sitting next to what doesn't even look like a tractor because it is really in pieces. It is a tractor that missing from the channel because here we are talking about the famous two-cylinder Lamborghini. I had started making some videos on a 1 hour with the moving bar, but unfortunately due to technical and time problems, I couldn't complete all the restoration videos and show you the final result. So I decided to start over and do it a bit different. I will show it to you already completely disassembled. Now I will show you a quick time lapse from the moment the tractor arrives when the first parts like the hood, seat, fenders and so on are removed up to the disassembly of the engine block and transmission piece by piece. So you will see this time lapse and we will meet again in a few minutes where I will reveal what I found and the project behind this tractor. Did you like the time lapse? Did you give me a thumbs up? But most importantly, have you subscribed to the channel to help me grow and allow me to bring better content? But anyway, back to talking about this 1 hour, or rather this 2241 to be precise. Here in front of me you see the entire transmission. We have all the gears, first, second, third. We have the gears for selecting low or high speeds, the entire shaft to the power takeoffs, and obviously differential and pinion gear. Everything here has been washed, checked to ensure all the gear teeth are in good condition and all new bearings have been bought. To my left and right, obviously matching to the left and right side of the tractor, you find what completes the rest of the rear part of the 2241. So we have the axle housing, half shaft, pinion gears and wheel hub. All with new bearings, everything washed, everything checked, everything ready to be reassembled. And finally on this shelf all the engine parts. You can see the new pistons, all the main supports and piston rods with the new bearings, the cylinders. Here we have the crankshaft and the hits, all of which have already been washed, prepared, checked, and retrieved from the machine shop, which made all the necessary works on the engine so it is ready for reassembly. And let's say I have eliminated the longest part of the restoration process, which is disassembling, checking what is not right, and starting to fix everything that has worn out or broken over time. So now a series of very quick, very close videos will come, one after the other, where you will see the tractor go from this state to being finished and restored. But I like to take a moment to talk about this 2241, to tell you a bit about the story behind this tractor. So I'll put you back on the tripod and do some narration about this Lamborghini. And here we are. The 2241. What kind of tractor is it? In my view, it is a really important one. It is very similar to the Lamborghinetta and very similar to the 1R. Let's say it has many more differences from the Lamborghinetta than from the 1R. The main differences are okay. The most obvious is that the 2241 has a rev counter and the Lamborghinetta does not. Another different is in the tires, which are slightly larger. We have the gearbox cover different between the Lamborghinetta and the 2241. We have the air duct made of aluminum on the first model. On the second one in sheet metal, we have the headlight relocation from the dashboard to the front nose, but fundamentally no major aesthetic differences. The same goes for the mechanics. The only big difference is that the engine has 2 more horsepower because it went from a 90 diameter piston in the Lamborghinetta to a 92 diameter piston in the 2241, but mechanically it is really the same. Now you might think, but did you forget the most important thing? The color. If the Lamborghini was grey and red, the 2241 is light blue and orange, but not all the Lamborghinis are grey and red. Why? Because the 2241 was the first tractor painted light blue and orange, and since for 1 year, or rather exactly 2 years, 1959 and 1960, the production of the Lamborghini and the 2241 overlapped because the 2241 was produced from 59 to 61, while the Lamborghini from 56 to 60. For these 2 years, the two production overlapped and the company decided to paint both models in the same colors, but only and simply the 2241 was born light blue and orange, and it was the very first tractor with the iconic Lamborghini colors, which symbolized the Lamborghini tractors. So, in my point of view, it is really important because historically it is a milestone. It created the light blue and orange livery that we all know well and that symbolized the Lamborghini tractors. Now, this 2241 here in particular, I have to say I found in excellent external condition. Yes, it was leaking oil. Yes, it seemed in bad shape, but let's say it wasn't mistreated like many other tractors. The problems arose when I opened it because I always expect to find badly worn engine, but this one, let's say, had worked a lot, especially the engine because the transmission, differential and half shaft were still in good condition. The engine, however, was really finished. So I think it worked a lot statically, maybe connected to an irrigation pump or something else. So the engine was put to the test, but the transmission and the air shaft were not. By opening the engine, I found that the cylinders with the pistons had 0.8 millimeter of play. A main bearing was very close to fail. A connecting rod bearing was completely fade. How does it even start a rod? Yes, this is the beauty of Lamborghinis. All Lamborghinis starts, all Lamborghinis run, but they are all tractors, especially those from these years that are fundamentally finished in terms of the engine. So I took everything apart, tried to clean the engine as best as possible because I think that since 1960, when the tractor was produced, it never had an oil change. Just the usual top up to keep the dipstick showing the level, and unfortunately, the same can be said for the gearbox. I found myself having to open the transmission, which was in really good condition. The bearings were still good, without play, without wear, but the problem was that the oil had never been changed. So there was a level of gunk, sludge, dirt inside the transmission that forced me to completely disassemble it, just to clean it. But at that point, I decided, since it was already open, to replace all the bearings and do a proper job, and after reassemble everything. So at the end, nothing was saved. I decided to replace all the bearings as I always do, completely redo the engine with three new main bearings, two new connecting rod bearings, new pistons, valve seats, valves, valve guides, and everything else the tractor needed. So now you have seen very quickly what took more than a month and a half, 2 months of work. More than anything, not work on the tractor, but waiting times for the engine to be done, for the replacement parts to arrive, for the parts to be made. So quite a long process, but now the plan is this. You will see a video in which I will reassemble the transmission and rear parts of the tractor, then I will reassemble the engine and front axle. You will see the repainting of the tractor with the decals, the preparation of all the details and the reassembly, and finally the final presentation. So there will be 5 videos, including this one, where you will see the tractor go from this state to being a restored and perfectly working tractor. I have decided to go very fast. Maybe I will focus a bit more on reassembling the transmission and the engine, mainly because they are the most interesting parts. But after that, the rest of the work is very repetitive, and you have already seen with the Lamborghini, the 4R, and the 2R. I decided to show the 2241 just to complete the circle of Lamborghini tractors. So you have seen them all, and especially because I think this will be one of the last tractor you will see on the channel. Both to avoid being repetitive and because a very important and big project is coming. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates, and especially to help me, we will see each other next week with another video on the 2241, and very soon with the new project. Ciao!